Welcome back. Of course, as we all know, that President Abdul al-Sisi is giving a special concern to the upcoming preparations of the COP27 conference that is going to be held in Sharm el-Sheikh. But in particular, he has larger plans. He has given his directives to officials and to people in charge in Sharm el-Sheikh to transform it into a green and sustainable city. Not only Sharm el-Sheikh, but the surrounding areas, with all its facilities to be environmentally friendly from the moment that you set your feet you land off with your from the plane, you set your feet in Sharm el-Sheikh and until departure. Of course, all facilities are environmentally friendly, and of course there are lots and lots and lots of upgrades that are going to be happened. And of course, Prime Minister Mustafa Mabuli have headed to Sharm el-Sheikh on a short visit to inspect those preparations and make sure everything is taken in its right place to be able to transform it into a green and sustainable city in the shortest time or pace of time. And we're very delighted to be having with us over the phone live Dr. Yehya Abdul, the tourism counselor over the phone. Good morning, Dr. Yehya.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir? We want to talk about transferring Sharm el-Sheikh into a green and sustainable city. Of course, Sharm el-Sheikh is an environment-free already city, but transforming it into a role model for worldwide countries, green and sustainable. How is this going to happen, and how do you imagine it?
Well, really, this is very beneficial for Egypt, and for our development, like the project President Abdul al-Sisi and the Egyptian administration has been applying for the past 8 years. Look at the North Coast and look at the Mediterranean, and Red Sea resorts. Sharm el-Sheikh, resort has been universally recognized as a prime venue for hosting world conferences, summits, events, and festivals. I remember last year we had the World Youth Forum headed by the President, where we had 8,000 participants, internationally. So this year, the COP27, the UN Climate Change Conference, is coming at a critical time due to the severe changes, that our planet has been exposed to, from floods to volcanoes to drought to bushfires. Yesterday, there was flooding in Italy and there were casualties. And prior to that, there was Sudan. So that's why the President and Dr. Mabuli have been, visiting the city and trying to form it like a role model for Egyptian city and resorts and tourist sites, destinations, to make sure that environmental aspects and procedures has been applied to the maximum. For example, the Sharm el-Sheikh International Airport 2 days ago was awarded the ISO citation for security, for safety, and for total quality procedures, observance. So this is one of the aspects that the city has been underway, to develop for the grand, meeting and conference of the UN shortly coming in November, inshallah.
Right. Of course, transforming it into a green and sustainable city means attracting more tourists from around the globe and setting example for how could we be able to respect the environment, we'll be able to protect it and maintain it at the same time. I mean, it is changing a whole image of Egypt, not only of Sharm el-Sheikh. If you'd like to elaborate.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We anticipate, inshallah, that we are going to have over 35,000 visitors, universally, internationally, landing in Sharm el-Sheikh over 3 weeks. They will represent the top politicians, UN officials, environmentalists, world media, and foreign delegations. So this is going to be a great, promotion for Egypt as hosting this, one of the mega events worldwide. So that's why, the government is working hard to make it as a role model. For example, the applying currently in Sharm el-Sheikh, the water desalinization project, to have, adequate water supplies for the resorts and hotels and visitors of the city. They are applying the solar power applications, as well as the wind and even the tidal waves. That will upgrade the tourist facilities and the environment as well. And they are observing the same thing for the aquatics like for the diving, for the coral beach, like for all the activities that's going, like in the water, in the air, and the safaris, to make it accessible and make it as a role model for Egypt and for world resorts worldwide.
Right. How can we benefit from COP27, which is going to be one of the most important, a major event worldwide, not only in the Arab world or in Africa, but worldwide, after Glasgow, of course. But how are you going to invest on this opportunity to be able to attract more visitors, to be able to create from Sharm el-Sheikh a city that is worldwide popular for its conference tourism, because it has hosted many other successful conferences before. Add to that that it is going to be transformed into a green, sustainable city. So if you like to elaborate over this importance, and how is this going to add to the conference tourism?
Well, like the tourism and hospitality industry and the travel, like has been regularly accused, like of threatening the environment due to the excessive, like consumption of water, of energy, of food supplies. That's one of the aspects that the current administration of Egyptian resorts like Sharm el-Sheikh is trying, like to make it like a role model and turning into like a green power that will improve the environment in many aspects and recycle, like the leftovers, like from great events like this. So Egypt, like throughout the COP27 is like performing and offering the world Sharm el-Sheikh in a pristine, and very preserved icon for the whole world. And this is going to double and triple the volume of travelers to Egypt. Like just today, it has been released like TOWIE International is going to double its, like volume of international travel to Hurghada by 40%. And is going to increase the volume of travelers from Frankfurt, from Stuttgart to Marsa Alam by 60%. So this is just like, like the pre, like convention, like events coming, because everybody in the whole world knows the efforts and procedures Egypt is going through to upgrade its resorts on the Mediterranean and on the Red Sea as well. So that's why, inshallah, when it's convened and positively results like will be applied, because we remember a week ago President Sisi addressed the rich nations that they have to do their toll, like, and try to save our planet from the negative aspect that we are going through now. So this is going to be a very effective and pristine convention for Egypt and for the whole world.
Right. Mentioning the airport, of course, this airport is supposed to be it is established now to receive more than 10 million thousands of tourists throughout the year. So, of course, this is a great development concerning the airport. Of course, and also we said that there are some museums also that were established inside the airport. How important is it to take the airport as one of the important receiving sites to a tourist that is setting his feet in Sharm el-Sheikh? How important is it to develop with it?
Well, really, the Sharm el-Sheikh International Airport has been like universally recognized because it has been a long time, like over half a century in operation, successfully for world travel and for a transit location as well. We are going to have, like over 35,000, like visitors within 1 week, staying like 3 weeks in Egypt. And that's why Egypt is focusing a lot, like to develop the airport, because this is the first step of visitors, like will, like encounter, like when they arrive. 97% of travel to Egypt and to Sharm el-Sheikh is via air, That's why the significance of the Sharm el-Sheikh International Airport. And this month, on the 27th of September, we're having the World Tourism Day. Well, tourism sites worldwide and heritage will be accessible to visitors. So we are going through a good times where shortly we are going to have a parade for King Tut as well, moving its treasures from the Cairo Museum to the Grand Egyptian Museum. So inshallah, like this fall, winter and spring will have good season for Egyptian travel and tourism, inshallah.
Right. Transforming Sharm el-Sheikh into a green, sustainable city is an introductory step to transform the whole tourism of Egypt into green and sustainable. It is a preparatory step that is taken by the country to transform the whole tourism into a green and sustainable tourism. How important, how is it going to change the face of tourism when when we wake up and see it transformed into a green and tourism one, and of course with all its facets, with all its facilities and everything? Talk to us about it.
We have seen, Dr. Madbouli last week, accompanied by Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, Mr. Ahmed Isa, Minister of Aviation, where he was driving, and Minister of Transportation, Mr. Kamel Wazir, when he was driving himself, an electric, car. So this is one really of the new innovation that Egypt is witnessing, that we are going to have, all transportation in the city mostly is going to be, operated, by electricity, which is clean energy, and the rest will be operated by gas. So this is going to be a role model where we keep, the waste and the detrimental effects to a minimum, like recycling the leftovers, and keeping, desalinization, for water. We are not going to consume large amounts of and quantities of Nile water, fresh water. So we are trying to minimize, the damage that has been accused and related to the hospitality and tourism industry. And by the end of the day, Sharm el-Sheikh will be a role model for Egypt and for the rest of the world through these applications, of digital information, the offices, transportation. So it will be a clean and pristine environment for visitors worldwide.
Of course, effecting such development like that would require also developing with the laws and with the regulations, enforcing the laws and harshening them against any violations that could be committed against the environment, against ruining or tarnishing the image of this city, beautiful city, or Egypt, and also against ruining the environment. And there are many ways that or crimes that are committed against the environment that are taken worldwide, not only in the Middle East or in Egypt or in other countries, but in Australia, in California, the United States, in Europe, in the Atlantic Sea, and we all know about it. So is there any plan to also effect laws?
Well, actually, this is quite true, because we have, the environmental agency that has been in business and managing the facilities and the wildlife in Dahab, Nuweiba, Ras Muhammad, the diving resorts, which are unique to the whole world, the coral beaches, and this has been in effect, since the 90s. So really they are working hard, for example, to make sure that, the coral reefs will not be, destroyed or subtracted. The wildlife, the deer and the wild birds, and the migration of birds from Europe, and cold areas like Alaska and Scandinavia, passing to Africa through Sharm el-Sheikh, and the Red Sea coast. So the environmental agencies are working hard, and the authorities, to maintain that the environment will be protected, and even the Bedouins, like in southern Sinai and in St. Catherine Monastery and all this area, they respect and they preserve, the environment, and make sure everything goes according, the local and, administrative government regulations and procedures. That's
right.
true.
Right. Dr. Yehya Abdul, the Tourism Council, would like to thank you, sir, very much, and wish you the best of luck. Thank you for talking to us on The Breakfast Show. And by this, we come to the end of this edition of The Breakfast Show. Many thanks to all of you. And until we see you again, once again tomorrow morning, that's a goodbye. You have a beautiful day.